We have very few and of limited use, and we're exploring not only the use but also the necessary guidelines for that use.
FBI Director Robert Mueller admitting the use of drones to spy on American citizens. The news that drones are being used on American soil has stirred a great deal of controversy, as you would expect. With me is civil liberties attorney John Katz in D.C. and conservative commentator and constitutional attorney, my friend Ann Coulter. And ladies and gentlemen, I want you to see what I have here. This is a drone, all right? This is a real drone. I have to tell you, of course, they come in different sizes and they fly up higher. They can go as high as several hundred feet to 50,000 feet or more for more than 20 hours. And obviously they weigh differently depending upon whether it's a manned, unmanned, whether there are weapons in it or not. But I have to tell you, if this is really high up in the air, you're not going to see it. Would you see it? If you're at a barbecue, you're going to look up and see, you think it's a bird. Until the flash goes off. Anyway, all right, Ann, let's talk about this drone stuff. Is the use of drones legal?
Well, it hasn't been held illegal, and I'm not even...
That's because there's no cases on it yet.
What I think about, well, yeah. I mean, obviously, and we've heard about cases where it's been used and to great success, but I think the main issue is the reason we need them is that the Immigration Service isn't doing their job. When we talk about spying on American citizens, it's always, American citizen Anwar al-Awlaki. Yeah, okay, they're technically American citizens, like these Chechens were technically American citizens.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm worried about... I'm having a barbecue at my house.
I know.
Do I have to worry about a drone because they're looking for al-Awlaki that they're killing over there anyway? John, let me ask you, is this stuff legal? Is a drone legal?
There has to be court approval. We know that you can't have GPS technology following a car without court approval. We can't have planes using infrared technology looking at houses for marijuana growing without court approval. And we can't have dogs coming up to people's houses looking for drugs without a court order. So there need to be court orders here.
All right, and, it's called, the reasonable expectation of privacy and probable cause. John is right. There needs to be probable cause.
Well, any place someone could see you, the drone can look also.
Yeah, but what about the drone? And I'm not even sure we know what these things do. Do they follow us around? Do they see through the roof? Do they see through windows?
No, they cannot see through the roof.
Yeah, but, it's like you might be able to have some kind of X-ray or sensing equipment that would
have been very useful at the when they were chasing the marathon bombers. It would have been good. You can only have so many police. They have police helicopters. If the police helicopters could follow the car, then a drone can follow the car.
But John, you don't disagree with Ann that in a case like the Boston Marathon bombing, I mean, we're in basically a lockdown city. You don't have a problem looking for these guys with a drone. That's exigent circumstance, yes?
Exactly. Without exigent circumstances, without probable cause, it's allowed by a court. This just can't be happening. And, how far are we going to go to invade people's privacy to stop crime? If we had cameras on everybody, I guess there would be no drug dealing. If we had cameras on everybody, there would be fewer murders. It has to stop somewhere, and at some point, people have to fess up and say, okay, we're going to go ahead and try to obliterate the Fourth Amendment through the proper voting, through the proper channels to allow this kind of invasion of privacy.
Ann, let me ask you this. We heard Robert Mueller testify this week, and he says that, the FBI has been deploying drones, and I think DEA, ATF, I'm not sure who else, and they are in the initial stages of developing guidelines. How do we do this without the guidelines?
Well, that's why I keep going back to the root cause of the problem, which is that we are inviting terrorists to come and live here and become American citizens. And I think it's a cheap ploy to say exigent circumstances. What if instead of shooting a cop on the MIT campus, they had just been spotted? What if it weren't exigent? What if they hadn't pulled out a gun and killed someone at that moment, but they know you have the suspect there? It's too expensive to send a helicopter. You send a drone. But it isn't simple criminal behavior we're talking about in all these cases. The reason people like me are sympathetic to it is when they are citing terrorism.
Of course.
All of these American-born terrorists aren't what we think of as Americans.
You're not suggesting that just to keep an eye on terrorism, we can keep an eye on everybody.
No, what I'm suggesting is the INS shouldn't be letting in potential terrorists.
Okay.
That's
All right.
what it goes back
John,
to.
last word. You got 10 seconds.
We have to have equal protection of the laws here, Ann. We can't be focusing on non-American born people here.
Okay.
Yeah,
all
that's
right.
why they shouldn't be coming here.
Well, that's for another time. John and Ann, thanks so much for being with us.